Welcome to Cinephellas, guys. I am Kevin, and I am pleased to give you another version of Cinema with Kevin, where I catch up with all the movies that I missed in the prior year, 2025, before I make my best and worst list of that year. Today, I thought I would talk about Josh O'Connor. Who was Josh O'Connor? Josh O'Connor is a rising talent who I think is very talented. He was in Emma, the 2020 version. He was, I think, Prince Charles in The Crown. I didn't watch that show, but someone told me that he was in that. And additionally, he was in one of my favorite movies of 2024, number two to be exact, Challengers. Now, he is the lead in Steven Spielberg's Disclosure Day. You may not know this, but he had four films released in 2025. I did see one in the reigns of the 2025 year, Wake Up Dead Man, A Nice Out Mystery, which I thought he held his own against Daniel Craig, Glenn Close, and Josh Brolin. I have three films that I'm going to talk about with him. So the other four are going to be about rising talents also that are not Josh O'Connor, of course. Scoot McNairy is someone that I've been aware with since the AMC show Halt and Catch Fire. Yes, he was part of the ensemble in the Oscar-winning film Argo, and he's been in other stuff, but that show really showed me how talented he was. If you have not seen that show, please check it out. I really like that show a lot. But here in Fairyland, he plays Steve, a single father whose wife died in a horrific car accident. And what does he do? He takes his young child daughter, and he goes to San Francisco during the 1970s when the revolution of the gay lifestyle is happening. There are parts of gay history sprinkled within this movie. You have the discussion and the threat of AIDS. You have a little discussion about Harvey Milk. All really interesting things that the director and the writer inject into this film, but I did not like this character. I thought this character was completely egotistical and completely selfish. Scoot McNairy is very good. He makes the character somewhat redeemable, but I just couldn't get past how, I know, again, selfish he was. The daughter grows up. They do spend, the majority of the movie there. And the actress playing the older version of the daughter is Emilia Jones. Emilia Jones was in the Oscar-winning film Coda, and I really liked her performance here. I think she was very good being a part of a family, or it's like father-daughter relationship where she's kind of more of the adult than he is. He is very irresponsible, even when he gets what he wants, when he comes out and he, starts dating other men. He's just still a very selfish character. And I really, again, I couldn't get past that. I'm like, this guy's such an asshole. But again, Scoot McNairy is very good. And Scoot McNairy and Emilia Jones are very good together and individually. Your reaction to this film may be different than mine if you can stomach Scoot McNairy's character, but it's not a bad movie. I'm not going to say it's a bad movie. It's an interesting one. If you are into, gay history, this one is definitely, could be played in like a gay cinema class. But anyway, um, I'm going to give this one 3 out of 5 Scoot McNairy hairpieces. A reclusive musical genius who has not made an album in 30 years invites a bunch of people to his estate in somewhere that is so isolated away from civilization. And then you have a bunch of people who work on that estate who are 100% dedicated to this musical artist in a very creepy, you know, master and servant kind of way. This movie was released by A24 last year, and it stars Iowa Debris, a rising star who has won awards for her performance in The Bear. Her time on the silver screen in film, I don't think she has found the right role for her. She's not bad in this movie. She is so serviceable with the plot, but I don't think she stood out. The one person who does stand out in this film is John Malkovich, who plays the musical genius. And holy shit, any problem I had with this film went away whenever he was on screen. He is so magnetic. He has that intellectualism that he can cut through you like a knife through a steak or whatever you want to cut a knife through. Bottom line, Malkovich is awesome. He still got it. And I don't think this guy has been nominated for an Oscar. And that is insane to me. The plot is very simplistic. The plot is predictable. Um, if you have that scenario that is set up in this review where you're going somewhere completely away from civilization, you're surrounded by people who worship this guy as a god, what do you think is going to happen? And whatever you're thinking is probably 100% on the mark of what happens in this movie. But again, it's an enjoyable film, and Malkovich makes this worthwhile, and I'm going to give this 3 out of 5 Iowa Debris hairpieces. Okay, so Iowa Debris' co-star on The Bear is Molly Gordon. And Molly Gordon co-wrote my next film called Oh Hi. Um, it is about her and Logan Lerman, and they've been dating for a while, and they go away to the countryside together, but then everything changes once there's a truth bomb spilled or dropped. I liked what Molly Gordon did to this film. Like she co-wrote it, and she has kind of like a cutesy way about her, but she's like kind of like insane. I don't want to say insane, but a little kooky, and she makes the character redeemable. And Logan Lerman makes his character really fun. Despite what you see on the poster, that he is locked up in chains and on a bed. This movie is very lighthearted, and I feel this is a criticism or maybe a look at how insane modern dating is today with all these terms and, instead of black and white kind of dating that, older people, you know, myself included, abided by, there are so many rules and there's so many different things you could be with somebody. And I thought this movie took a very fun and lighthearted way of explaining that and showing that it is a very I think it's the perfect movie to watch on a rainy day, and I'm going to give this one 3 out of 5 Molly Gordon hairpieces. Finally, before we get to the Josh O'Connor films, we have a film starring one of the least controversial and universally loved actresses of the current moment. I say this with sarcasm. Okay, I'm talking about Sydney Sweeney. I'm not going to go into why I've set that joke up like that, but now Euphoria has ended, and now it's you know do or die for her. She's got to see if she can make it on the big screen or is she just going to be a television actress. And last year she also released the movie Christie about the boxer, and I thought that was a very underwhelming film. I thought she was good in it, but I just did not think that film worked at all. But I'm talking today about Americana. Americana is a film that tries to be a quick-witted Western with style, something reminiscent of Tarantino. First off, the story is told in a nonlinear fashion, and that really helps it because the story, if it was told in linear fashion, I don't think would have held the interest of the audience. I saw a lot of flaws in the screenwriting and the story structure. Then we have my guy, Paul Walter Hauser. I love this dude. Who doesn't love him? And he's going to be Chris Farley. And here he's just on autopilot. He's doing like the aw shucks fat guy thing. And that's no disrespect to Mr. Hauser. He does it well. He's a great actor. He can also do comedy. Again, I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can give Chris Farley. And then there's Sweeney. Sydney Sweeney, she's good again. She gives her character a stammer, and it kind of elevates the character because the character is very underwritten. And I thought Sweeney did well. She didn't lean in too much to the stammer. She didn't really make her performance rely on that. But, she's okay. She still has work to do, but I think she can be a good actress. And, it's not a bad film, but I just think it's a film that will get lost in a genre, which is like a Western. And I highly recommend you watch two other Westerns. They're called Nebraska, directed by Clark Duke, and Vengeance, directed by BJ Novak. I think those two films are a lot better than this and do everything well that this film fails to do. But again, it's kind of enjoyable, but I have forgotten about it since I watched it. And I'm going to give this one 2.5 out of 5 Southern Sweeney hairpieces. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the three films under Josh O'Connor's umbrella. The first one, he teams up with Paul Mescal, who is another rising talent, and I still can't believe he was not nominated for Hamnet. That's a film that I did not fall in love with like everyone else did, but I did think he was very good. He recites Shakespeare like it's his fucking job. I mean, it is his job, but he's the guy. He's the man. He's the man at Shakespeare. Anyway, so Mescal and O'Connor play lovers who are traveling across the country. O'Connor is a professor of music, And he's collecting sounds. He's collecting sounds of nature. He's collecting sounds of people in different towns and villages. They stop singing. They're making folk music. And of course, this is over 100 years ago, so their relationship has to be kept secret. But the film is about the power of music and the way it can bring two people together despite their gender, and the heartbreak that a good piece of music can provide. The period of the 1910s is masterfully recreated. I really loved it. It's a very pretty movie. It's a very handsome movie. O'Connor and Mescal do deepen the story, and with two very, very good performances, they're very good together, very good, separately, because there are parts of the film where you get to see both their lives, without each other, and I thought they're very good. They're Paul Mescal and Josh O'Connor. It's like saying Jordan and Pippen on the court. Oh, they had a great game. Of course, they had a great game. They're Jordan and Pippen. But I think that this movie could have been a little more um powerful. I mean, it's a good film, but I think it can would have been a little more powerful. But, if you're a fan of Mescal and O'Connor or this type of film, definitely check it out. And I'm going to give this one 3 out of 5 Paul Mescal hair pieces. Okay, so the second film in my Josh O'Connor watch is called Rebuilding. Here, Josh plays a cowboy whose village and surrounding towns are also basically destroyed by a wildfire. He is an introvert and has really no sense of community. This all changes when he goes to help the community where his daughter lives. And he begins to grow close to the members of that community and, find a place to belong because he's very shy. He's very introverted. He plays the part of a simplistic cowboy very well. So this means very, acting to his eyes, acting to his face, not saying, saying everything that he can't say with his words, through his body. Most of all, this film has a very, very big heart and a sense of community that I felt was accurately depicted. I really liked it. It was, because sometimes these movies try to create community, but they fail. It becomes artificial. Nope, this movie was very genuine in its presentation of people coming together and trying to make the best of bad situations. And at times, it reminded me of one of my favorite films, Nomadland. It was very simplistic, the way it's filmed. I think it could be like part of a film festival, maybe, not two films, but part of a film festival about, Midwestern culture, Middle America. Both films very, very, very aptly show, you know, the community and what life is like out there. Oh, and also in the community of the cast of characters, there is a current Oscar winner. Let's see if you can identify her. And I'm gonna give this one 3.5 out of 5 cowboy Josh O'Connor hairpieces. Finally, we have come to the last film of Josh O'Connor, and this one was nominated for the Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival. This is Kelly Reichardt's film where Josh O'Connor plays a mastermind of a heist or attempted mastermind. This is an Ocean's 11. There's no glitz, there's no glamour, there is no smoothness to this heist. No, I think this was a very accurate depiction of what would happen if a regular Joe wanted to become a criminal and took over the heist. Here, Josh O'Connor plays a bumbling fool and he's misguided. Someone you kind of feel sorry for despite his criminal, his heist and his breaking the law because he just has no criminal intellect whatsoever. And it's kind of sadly funny at points how stupid he is and how irresponsible he is. But then it also flips and despite being a criminal, he starts losing stuff that means a lot to him, especially his family. And I thought that was a very interesting way to look at this film. The story is a period piece in the 1970s. The clothes, the style, everything looks great, and it seems like there is a filter put on that camera, and it's a very pretty looking film. I really like this film, the way it looked. I felt like I was watching a 70s film at points. That's how good it is. Yeah, so to some, this may be too slow, which it could be. I'm not going to say this is a fast-paced film, and it does move very slow at points, but I think Josh O'Connor is such a good performer that he guides us through the story of a fool who loses everything, despite wanting to be rich and wanting to be wealthy. And it's an interesting film, and I'm going to give this one 4 out of 5 knucklehead Josh O'Connor hairpieces. Okay, so yeah, we reviewed Disclosure Day, and we all loved it. That review is either up or coming up, and Josh O'Connor is great in it. But maybe you're not a fan of Josh O'Connor. Maybe you were not a fan of the three films I covered. And what about the other ones? Are you not convinced Sydney Sweeney is a good actress? Do you think Iowa Debris should just stick to TV, or Molly Gordon should, Molly Gordon and Iowa Debris should maybe just stick to the Bear? Or, Scoot McNairy, who cares about Fairyland? Debate me. Let me know below. Let me know in the comments. Come to the website or on Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube. We can also this comment, we're always updating with reviews. We love doing this, guys, especially me, and I appreciate you giving me your time. And as we say, I am Kevin, and cheers.